Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here, more from the IGOS Museum. Well, what we've got here is a fascinating and interesting area which is being highly neglected in modern times, which is biorhythms. And here's a little biorhythm computer, remnants of a calculator, and also doubles as an old-style calculator, if people understand what that is. And here we have it. You'll see it's a Radio Shack model. Remember them? Are they still in business? I think so, but Radio Shack was big for many, many years and was a part of everyone's community where you picked up kind of things. Now, here is the actual little booklet that comes with it, which tells you how to use the unit. Now, one of the problems with all these units, there's been several, and I'm going to show you another one here, is that they don't work any longer because the internal computer only goes up to 2010, I believe, so they're way out of date. So you can't really use them to calculate your biorhythms, and there are free items online to calculate your biorhythms, which is something I recommend everybody look at and get into. This is a mint condition old Radio Shack unit, probably was rarely used. It runs on two AA batteries. Comes with this little case, and it says Radio Shack on the case. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. And it was pretty easy to use, but I'm not going to go into that because it's just old technology, but you punch in your birth date and it would give you the different trends, etc. It's too much to go into, but if you're a person who's into biorhythms, this is a great actual little inspection of one of the classic real units of its time. Here's the stuff on the back. And you can see here, let's see, there has your different, it shows you the different cycles. These are all the things that were on the unit. It shows here that where it was made by Radio Shack, the Tandy Corporation, as they used to call themselves, and the information is there. So a fun blast from the past of a particular type of technology of that time. And it's really sad. I mean, it was very big in Japan, and I believe it still is to a certain degree. But it's one of those things that came out in the 70s that everybody was into. And of course, it makes a lot of sense. Is this a good bio time for you? Are you high, low? And there's been a lot of research done in this area, and it has been shown to be very accurate, or at least pretty accurate. 95% of the time. So, you know, we're always looking for little ways to actually figure out how to get that edge in life. And there's so many ways to get that edge in life. This was one of them. And there's a lot of books on this still out there that you can get. And as I said, there are free ways of calculating your particular biorhythm for that day, etc. So, you know, it's something to look into. If you're going to be doing something of great importance, well, maybe you should try and coordinate it with your biorhythms. Well, let's also now look at a competing unit, something that I'm assuming these are all made by the same people as so many things are made today. We'll move this out of the way. As we can see, my little radionic work area. And here we go into a famous unit of its time again. The Kosmos Biorhythm computer and calculator. Got to remember, in this day and age, calculators were still something that were kind of new and fun and interesting. And of course, they were great tools. Who wants to add anything up? So you have this particular. The backside is the same exact thing, which has this actual little image here showing it. So this is quite nice, and it's a particular, oh, let's look at this, where, you know, I always love when you can see the actual where this came from. This came from May-D, never heard of it, probably some chain store. As of the time, you got to remember the criteria for these things go back quite. It was $50. So, $50 was probably a good chunk of change back then. Being a whole little kit, People had to take this seriously to invest in it. Oops. Jump in here. So this is raw footage. Let me look at the, I'm trying to find here if there's any information on the actual year of manufacture for the Radio Shack one. Okay, yeah, it has in the instructions, it says copyrighted 1978. So that goes back to 1978, the Radio Shack one. Now let's take a look at this $50 unit. Comes in a nice box, you know, obviously, these were serious tools at the time, and 50 bucks was probably a good chunk of change that I've mentioned. Comes in this packing material. As I said, this is like an unboxing of something that you would have got in a time machine. Here's the warranty. It shows that the company was out of Atlanta, Georgia. The Kosmos International. Here's their little warranty. You filled out the card. You know, the usual stuff that you get even to this day. I'm trying to look here. Well, there's nothing here that says any kind of date on it in terms of the manufacture date. And of course, it's very similar to, and as I said, probably made by the same people. Here's the actual back of the unit, giving you your different trends, critical days, minimal critical days, up cycles, down cycles, etc. It's all there, the days of the week, etc. So it's really pretty cool what this was done. You get your typical battery holder in the back that runs on AA batteries. Let's get rid of this packing material. And let's look at the book. A nice little book here, and nice little printing, full color little instruction manual. And this is the Kosmos 1. There is another model of this, and of all of this that goes with these things here. So let me see if we can get that. Here we go. See if I can find a manufacturer date on this particular thing, and as we go through it. But this is very nice. It's a full color brochure, which I'm assuming was, well, those are expensive even to do today. And but it's a glossy full cover color unit that you have here. It references books. It's quite nice, and it's very well done. I'm still trying to look for an actual manufacturer date on this, or some sort of copyright on this, and see what we can actually do with this. But let's put that to the side right now, and let's look at this brochure a little more carefully. You can see it says the Kosmos 1 on it. And as I said, this is a glossy full color. So this was very well done, particularly for its time, which is, and it comes in, of course, a little slip cover, which is fabric, a little pack, a little actual pocket for that the instructions are inserted in, so you can hold the whole unit together. And let's see if we can show that one little bit here, but you know, you insert that in, you then insert this in, and of course, you have a nice little, so it was well done. I mean, it's nice to see things that are put together well. I mean, people's carefully, this looks like some sort of fabric, I'm assuming it's cotton. It's nice to see people put their, put work into something and care about their products. And as I said, this was big, and here's another unit that is worthless. The bottom line is that it does not work anymore because you got to remember these are made, what is that, 40 years ago, so they don't continually still work. But here we go with the actual looking at this manual here with the table of contents here. See if you can kind of see that. Here's a little look at and again, here we go. Again, a full color page here, which is quite nice. Why is it some days you feel like $1,000,000 and others like small change? Oh, that's cute. And as you can see here, it's got a nice glossy page. There's an attractive woman there. And, of course, this kind of explains. The whole introduction here kind of explains it. Congratulations! You're just shown the good sense to buy the best pocket-sized biocomputer on the market. And, of course, there were several. I just showed you the other ones. They all seem to be made by the same people. But before jumping in, make sure you read the instructions. Well, who does that? So, and let's go through this booklet quickly. And here it shows the most advanced computer of the day. Take a look at that puppy. It's the size of a truck, which is always fun to see that. And of course, they're showing advanced tools, apparently, that you can get. The Biocon 200 computer can monitor your biorhythms too. It takes up most of the desktop and costs around $3,000. They're showing you other machines that can do the process that this little unit does for $50. And again, here you're seeing the actual unit in hand, showing an expensive one. They talk about the books. Again, they talk about thanks to the help of computers that we can do all this now. United Airlines, Japanese Airlines, Swiss Air have all biorhythmically monitored their employees. Even members of the U.S. Air Force, Tactical Air Command, and Army aviators have their biorhythms charted. In Japan, bus and truck drivers, along with train conductors, all of these people were running by. Now, this is all truth, and it's amazing how things come and go based on what is popular and then kind of just forgotten, which is kind of sad. We are reintroducing all this. It's going to be part of our ultimate system. Is how we tell you the proper ways to use it. Here's instructions on how to use the unit. But even if you find one of these, unless you just want to use it as a calculator to calculate typical mathematics, it's totally worth it. And of course, we have all these in our phones now, our computers, our tablets. I have a Kindle Fire that has a calculator in it and everything else. I do like kind of physical calculators as well, which you can carry around and use as well. And of course, having a calculator that kicks out a paper copy so you can look at what you did is something that's still very important for accounting. It's hard to look at all those things and keep track of them. Real accounting, you print out and look at the actual paper results of what you've done. So the concept of a handheld thing is not obsolete, but of course this unit is obsolete. As I said, it doesn't calculate, and you have to put your birth date in to calculate these things. It doesn't calculate any modern birth dates, bring you up to this modern time, because this unit itself is 20 to 40 years ago. So it talks about this, the batteries, the usual things, and of course this is run by typical AA batteries. It goes into your different cycles here. I mean, it's all interesting, but there's really no reason to get too much into the details of it. It talks about the physical cycles, the intellectual, the emotional. These are the different cycles, which is true. Some days you're going to be physically strong. Why? Other days you're physically weak. Why? These things go far beyond just your basic bio-functioning from whatever you did before, eat, or what's. There's a whole bunch of things going on, and this is, you are controlled by these in their own little ways. Here are different books they recommend. I mean, it's extremely well done. As I said, this is not just a little paper booklet. It is a glossy instructional booklet which gives you all this information, a registry information, etc. And as I've mentioned, it comes in a nice little pouch that you put it in. The unit is made well. It's professionally made. Of course, even back then, these things were made in Taiwan, Hong Kong. Taiwan, of course, is an offshoot of China, a separate country, but it's still basically China. Of course, Hong Kong was a colony for a long time, or a protectorate of England, which is now owned by mainland China again. So, I mean, these are fun blasts from the past, people, so you can see what this happens. Look into biorhythms, get involved with it, watch for our course, which we're going to teach you how to use these things. Very important. Life is about that edge, and life has now gotten very complicated, very difficult. We're going into horrendously difficult times in the coming years because of the major shift of everything. So because there's been a shift and a consolidation of business problems, there's now with the, which will go on indefinitely, basically biological problems, otherwise known as illnesses, and people now will be tracked like a bad 1970 movie. You know, a movie when this was made that talked about the realities of life. Well, these are exciting things. And of course, it came with this as well inside. This is the little internal packaging that went inside the box. And as I said, this was 50 bucks. And I would say that's $200 today or so, which isn't exactly small amounts of money, but it certainly wasn't expensive. And of course, this would last you most of your lifetime. So, as with all biocomputers that were made back then, including this one, which is Kosmos 1 and Kosmos 2, they don't work no more. So don't go out and buy these. I bought these thinking that I could actually use these, and they have ended up as this video. But it is interesting historical information and shows you